And joining me here in studio to talk more about the recommendations as well as the future of corrections is the Chief Justice of Kentucky, John Minton. Justice Minton, thank you for being with me.
Ryan, I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Thanks for braving the snow. Now, Justice Minton, you have been participating as one of the 7 members of the task force for the last 8 months or so, and the recommendations, of course, have come out now. How confident are you that these recommendations, this first batch here, if passed, will actually make a difference?
Well, I'm confident because I know how much work the task force has put into this. I have been privileged as a part of the judicial branch to be included in this conversation, and I want to say to you how appreciative I am on behalf of the judicial branch to be a part of the discussion. Now, what happens from here going forward, of course, will be the conversations, the debates, the discussions that take place by the policymakers in the General Assembly, and so we'll have to wait and see how it goes. Our job, and where I know it will make a difference in the judicial branch, is there is a big piece of judicial education that's going to take place as a result of our having participated in this.
In terms of telling the judges just how maybe some changes will happen, especially on the parole and even sentencing, is that right?
Well, throughout the course of this task force effort, these several months that we've been meeting, I have included conversations with the trial court judges, both on the district court level and the circuit court level, both of whom would be impacted by what we do here. I've included them in the conversation. I have invited them to be a part of helping inform me, because they're working at the on the front line in terms of the criminal justice in the courts.
So you've been getting feedback from them kind of in real time then? I
have, and I have been invited invited to participate in other states. I sent Judge Eddie Coleman from Pikeville and Judge Janet Crocker from Franklin, Kentucky, down to a conference in Alabama where they could see what Alabama is doing with this evidence-based sentencing initiative that is a big piece of the reform effort here.
Okay, and I know that, yeah, that's one of the pieces. Explain that, the evidence-based sentencing, what has to happen with that?
Well, evidence-based sentencing would add another tool for the sentencing judge. Over the course of the last several years, I would guess it would be the academic community has studied, I've learned a new term, the criminogenic effects, and it talks about the criminogenic effects being the effects that cause people to commit crime or result in criminal activity. There's some learning that has happened about that, and so this gives us an opportunity to give the sentencing judge more information about the criminogenic effects of
Does that mean more latitude in how to sentence that person? Because there are sentencing guidelines now.
Well, there are not sentencing guidelines in the traditional sense like the federal judges have. For state court judges, we're given we have a number of factors that we consider. One of the factors that has been a very great emphasis in this study would be how does the punishment that we impose impact the individual's, how his or her response would be impacted. In other words, how successful would we be with other alternatives to incarceration, and how that might influence the criminal defendant's return to the criminal justice system. The goal would be to add a factor that would increase the likelihood that this person would benefit from treatment, from other alternatives to incarceration that could be imposed to change the course of conduct for the person.
Maybe probation with that tight supervision, for instance?
Right. Well, yes, we have probation, have had probation available to us as sentencing judges. That's always been available.
But using that more often, especially for non-violent offenses?
This new, the part of the proposal from the task force will require a tremendous enhancement of the tools that probation and parole will have available to it. A sentencing judge now, depending on where the judge is located in the Commonwealth, sometimes has very limited tools at hand to use as an alternative to incarceration. And so one of the things that this study tells us is that there are some people who would benefit more from treatment or other alternatives to incarceration in order to interrupt their criminal activity.